Level 1. The Dream. You're 9 years old, lying on the grass at an airshow in Pensacola, watching an F-18 pull a vertical climb so steep it disappears into the sun. The sound hits your chest 3 seconds after the jet passes. Your father puts his hand on your shoulder and says something you don't hear because you're gone. You're in that cockpit. You're pulling that stick. You've never wanted anything before this moment, and you will never want anything this badly again. You go home and tape a picture of an F-16 above your bed. It stays there for 12 years. Through middle school, where you're average. Through high school, where you're slightly above average. Through every math class you force yourself to love because someone told you pilots need math. You're not a prodigy. You're not gifted. You're just a kid who looked at the sky once and decided that's where he lives. Everything else is just waiting. Level 2. The Candidate. You're 18. You apply to the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. 10,000 applicants. 1,200 accepted. You need a congressional nomination. You write a letter to your congressman's office that takes you 14 drafts. Your mother proofreads everyone. You get the nomination. You get accepted. You show up on day 1 and they shave your head and scream at you for 6 hours. And you think this is the greatest day of your life. 4 years, aeronautical engineering, military training, physical standards that wash out a third of every class. You graduate with a 3.4 GPA. Not the best, not the worst. Good enough. On selection day, you request fighter pilot training. So does everyone. 26 slots for 300 applicants. Your class rank, your flight screening scores, your instructor evaluations, your physical, everything gets fed into a board that decides who flies fighters, who flies tankers, who flies cargo, who flies drones. You get fighters. The kid next to you, better grades, better fitness scores, doesn't. He flies KC-135 tankers for the next 20 years. The margin between your dreams and his disappointment is a decimal point that neither of you will ever see. You call your mother. She cries. You call your father. He says he's proud. Then he's quiet for a long time. He knows something you don't yet. That getting what you want is when the hard part starts. Level 3. The Student. Undergraduate pilot training. Laughlin Air Force Base, Texas. 53 weeks. Washout rate for fighter track is 25%. The flying starts in a T6 Texan II. A turboprop trainer that feels fast until you realize it's a tricycle before the motorcycle. You learn contact flying, instruments, formations, aerobatics. Your first solo flight lasts 45 minutes. You climb to 15,000 feet over West Texas and the world below looks like a map and the sky above looks like permission. You level off. You roll the wings. You're alone in this aircraft for the first time in your life, and the silence between radio calls is the most beautiful sound you've ever heard. Then you transition to the T-38 Talon, supersonic trainer, twin engine. The jump from the T6 to the T-38 is the jump that kills careers. Everything is faster. The margin for error shrinks from feet to inches. Your first flight in the T-38, the instructor pulls into a 6G turn and you wish in tunnels and your arms weigh 90 pounds each and you think you're going to pass out. You don't. You strain every muscle below your waist to keep the blood in your brain. It's called the anti-G straining maneuver and it becomes as automatic as breathing by month 3. The days are 14 hours. Brief the flight, fly the flight, debrief the flight, study for tomorrow's flight, sleep for 5 hours, repeat. A friend in your class gets ass sick every sortie for 3 weeks straight. He vomits in the mask, cleans it, flies again. He graduates. Another friend, the best natural stick in the class, bursts 2 check rides on instruments. He's eliminated. Talent isn't enough. Consistency is everything. On graduation day, you're assigned to the F-16 Fighting Falcon. Single seat, single engine. The jet that's been on your wall since you were 9. You touch the fuselage on the flight line and your hand is shaking and you don't care who sees. Level 4. The Wingman. Luke Air Force Base, Arizona. F-16, B course, the schoolhouse where they turned pilots into fighter pilots. 9 months. You learn the aircraft like a language. 340 switches in the cockpit. You memorize every one blindfolded. Emergency procedures, engine fire, hydraulic failure, electrical failure, bird strike, canopy fracture. You drill them in a chair in your apartment, eyes closed, hands moving through imaginary switches until your roommate thinks you've lost your mind. Your first flight in the F-16 is the closest thing to religion you've experienced. Single seat means there's no instructor behind you. It's you and 29,000 pounds of thrust and a bubble canopy that makes you feel like you're sitting on the nose of a missile. You push the throttle past the detent into afterburner. The acceleration pins you to the seat with 9,000 pounds of force. You're doing 400 knots before the end of the runway. You pull back and the jet goes vertical and the grounds fall away so fast your brain can't reconcile the speed with reality. At 20,000 feet, you level off. The horizon curves. The sky is darker up here, almost purple. You are completely alone, moving at the speed of sound with the power to destroy anything on the ground below you, and the vulnerability of a single engine that, if it quits, gives you exactly one option. A yellow handle between your legs that fires you out of the aircraft at 15,000 feet per second. You learn basic fighter maneuvers. 1 versus 1 dogfighting. The geometry of killing. Turning radius. Corner speed. Energy management. The fight isn't about who's faster. It's about who manages the energy better. Speed is life. Altitude is life insurance. Lose both and you're dead. Your first BFM sortie against an instructor. He's on your tail in 40 seconds. You never saw him move. By month 6, you can hold your own for 3 minutes. By month 9, you occasionally win. The instructor grins when you gun him. Not because he's proud, because he needs pilots who can kill him in training so they can kill the enemy in combat. Level 5, the combat pilot. You deploy. The first time is surreal. Your jet has live missiles under the wings. AIM-9 sidewinders on the tip. AIM-120 AMRAAMs on the pylons. A full load of 20mm rounds in the cannon. 511 bullets that can shred an armored vehicle in a 2-second burst. This isn't training. The missiles are real. The targets are real. The people on the ground are real. Your first combat sortie is close air support. Troops in contact. An army platoon is pinned down by machine gun fire from a compound 300 meters east of their position. The JTAC on the radio is calm, but you can hear gunfire in the background. He gives you coordinates. You roll in from 15,000 feet. The compound is a white square on your targeting pod. You can see figures moving on the roof. The JTAC clears you hot. You pickle the bomb. A 500-pound GBU-38 falls off your wing and you pull off target and count. The explosion is a gray cloud that rises and flattens. The JTAC says, "Good hits." Troops moving. The platoon advances. You fly back to base. You eat dinner, chicken and rice. You sit alone because the math of what just happened hasn't caught up yet. You dropped a bomb on a building with people in it. The JTAC said they were combatants. You believe him because believing him is how this works. You don't know their names. You don't know their ages. You know coordinates and a radio call that said cleared hot. That's what you tell yourself. It works for about 6 months. Then a mission goes differently. A compound. Intelligence says weapons cache. You drop. The secondary explosion confirms munitions. It also confirms a room you didn't know about. The battle damage assessment the next morning includes a number that isn't combatants. The number is small enough to be called acceptable in the briefing. It's not small enough to be acceptable in your head. You fly the next day because that's what you do. The jet doesn't care about your feelings. The schedule doesn't care about your feelings. The war doesn't pause because a pilot is having a bad night. You learn to compartmentalize. You put things in boxes and close the lids. The boxes stay closed during the day. At night, some of them open. You stop sleeping well. You tell no one because fighter pilots don't have bad nights. Fighter pilots have exceptional situational awareness and unshakable composure. That's the brand. The brand and the human don't always match. Level 6, the flight lead. Captain now, 800 flight hours. You lead a 4-ship formation, 4 F-16s. You're responsible for the mission planning, the execution, the debrief, and the lives of 3 other pilots who fly where you tell them to fly and shoot where you tell them to shoot. The weight of that responsibility doesn't hit you during the mission. It hits you during the brief when you look at the 3 faces across the table and realize that your decisions in the next 2 hours will determine whether all 4 of you come home. A flight lead who second guesses is a flight lead who hesitates. Hesitation at 500 knots kills people. You plan a strike package against integrated air defenses, triple-digit SAMs, surface-to-air missiles that can reach you at 50,000 feet and track you through jamming. The suppression of enemy air defense mission is the most dangerous sortie a fighter pilot flies. You're deliberately flying into the thing that's designed to kill you so that other aircraft can do their job behind you. Your wingman is 23. He got married last month. His wife is pregnant with their first kid. You assigned him the number 3 position because it's the safest in the formation. You told yourself it was tactical. It wasn't. It was the photograph of his wife on his desk. You can't make decisions like that. You know this. You make it anyway because you're a human pretending to be a machine. And sometimes the human wins. Level 7, the instructor. Major, 1,200 hours. You're back at the schoolhouse, teaching the next generation of fighter pilots. The students remind you of yourself. The same hunger, the same conviction that they're invincible. You know they're not because you've borrowed friends who thought the same. The student on a low-level navigation route flies into the side of a mountain in New Mexico. See fit. Controlled flight into terrain. The most clinical phrase for the most violent thing. He was 26. He was good. Good doesn't matter when the terrain is 50 feet away and you're looking at the wrong display. You stand at the memorial. His parents are there. His mother holds your hands and thanks you for teaching him. You don't know what to say because you taught him to fly, and the thing you taught him to do killed him. You go home and your wife asks how the service was. You say fine. She knows it isn't. She's been married to a fighter pilot for 8 years. She can read the silence the way you read a radar display. She pours you a drink. She sits next to you. She doesn't push. That's why you're still married when everyone around you isn't. The divorce rate in fighter squadrons is a number nobody officially tracks, because officially tracking it would mean officially acknowledging the cost. You've been to 9 weddings since pilot training. 6 ended in divorce. The 3 that survived shared one thing. The spouses stopped expecting the pilot to be fully present and started accepting the version that comes home. That's not a marriage. It's an arrangement. But it works, because the alternative is another ring in a drawer and another kid who draws a family portrait with space where dad used to be. Level 8, the commander. Squadron commander. 24 aircraft, 36 pilots, 400 maintenance and support personnel. You're responsible for every jet, every sortie, every person. When a jet crashes, you answer the phone. When a pilot makes a mistake that kills civilians, you stand in front of the camera. When a 19-year-old maintainer makes a tooling error that causes an in-flight emergency, you look at his face and decide between accountability and ending a career that hasn't started yet. You sign deployment orders knowing exactly what they cost you because you paid the cost yourself. Your squadron deploys to Middle East, 1,600 combat sorties in 6 months. Every pilot comes home. You consider this your greatest achievement. Not the medals, not the promotions. The fact that 36 pilots flew into combat and 36 flew back. You know this isn't skill alone. It's also luck. And luck doesn't extend forever. Level 9, the last flight. You're 46, 3,200 flight hours, 11 deployments, a silver star, 2 distinguished flying crosses, 3 marriages, one that lasted, 2 kids who learned to stop asking when you'd be home and started checking the calendar themselves. Your knees ache from years of G-forces compressing your spine. Your hearing is damaged from decades of jet noise despite the helmet. Your back has 2 herniated discs from ejection seat posture held for thousands of hours. The VA will catalog all of this someday. Right now, you're climbing into an F-16 for the last time. The crew chief salutes you at the ladder. He's been working on this jet for 15 years. He knows every rivet. You strap in. 340 switches. You could do this blind. You push the throttle forward. The engine winds up. The familiar rumble through the seat. You taxi out. You take the runway. You push into afterburner one last time. The acceleration still pins you to the seat after 24 years. It never got old. It never will. You climb. 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. The sky darkens. The horizon curves. You're alone. You were alone the first time you flew the F-16 at Luke, and you're alone now. And the silence between radio calls is still the most beautiful sound you've ever heard. You roll inverted. The earth above you. The sky below. For a moment, you're 9 years old lying on the grass at Pensacola, watching an F-18 disappear into the sun. You're in that cockpit. You always were. You roll wings level. You descend. You land. You taxi in. The squadron is lined up on the ramp. Fire trucks spray water over the jet in an arc. The Finney flight tradition. You climb down the ladder. Your wife is there. Your kids are there. Your crew chief shakes your hand. Someone hands you a bottle of champagne. You spray it because that's what you do. Everyone cheers. You smile. And somewhere underneath that smile, in a box you keep closed, is every face from every targeting pod. Every friend's name on a memorial wall. Every night you walk the house at 3 a.m. because the sound of silence became louder than the sound of engines. The jet stays on the ramp. You walk to your car. You drive home. The picture of the F-16 isn't above your bed anymore. It's a frame in the hallway. Your daughter walks past it every day. She's 14 now. She doesn't look at it. Why would she? It's always been there. Like you. Except it was always there. You weren't. That's the cost. Not the knees. Not the hearing. Not the discs. The cost is the years you spent in the sky while life happened on the ground. You do it again. Every pilot says that. You do every sortie, every deployment, every 3 a.m. scramble, every bomb dropped, every friend buried. You do it all again. And that's the part that scares you. Not that it broke you, that you let it break you twice.